The broke mindset is not about the bank balance. A man can have money in his account and be running a broke mindset. A man can have very little and not be running one at all. The broke mindset is a specific architecture of belief about money, about what it is, what it does, who gets to have it, and what role you play in that story, that produces broke outcomes regardless of what the income is doing. It shows up in specific ways. The immediate spend of every windfall, because holding money feels unfamiliar or temporary. The avoidance of the bank balance because seeing it produces anxiety rather than information. The frame that wealth is for other people, people with different starts, different networks, different luck, not something built through daily choices by someone who started where you started. The belief, running quietly beneath every financial decision, that the arrival of money is an event and its departure is the natural continuation of the story. T'Challa understood something about Wakanda's wealth that most of his predecessors had struggled with. The resource was not the advantage. The relationship with the resource was the decisions made about it, the beliefs governing those decisions, the daily habits that either compounded the resource or consumed it. Those were the variables. 8 tiny habits address those variables directly. Here is every one. Habit 1. Look at your bank balance every morning, not to feel good or bad about it, to treat it as information rather than an emotional event. The broke mindset avoids the number because the number produces anxiety. The wealth mindset checks the number because the number is data, the starting position for today's financial decisions. 30 days of checking the number daily without judgment begins to neutralize the emotional charge around it. A number you can look at clearly is a number you can work with. A number you avoid is a number that runs your financial life without your participation. Habit 2. Replace "I can't afford it" with "how could I afford it?" The first closes the question. The second opens a problem-solving process. The broke mindset treats financial constraints as fixed ceilings. The wealth mindset treats them as current conditions that problem-solving can address. This is not positive thinking. It is a cognitive reframe that activates different neural processes, problem-solving versus acceptance. Most of the financial constraints a person in their 20s or 30s faces are genuinely addressable through skill development, income growth, or spending, restructuring. The question, "how could I?" begins the process. "I can't" ends it before it starts. Habit 3. Spend 10 minutes weekly learning one financial concept. Not a course, not a book. 10 minutes. One concept. Compound interest. Index funds, tax efficiency, debt structures, asset classes. One concept per week, understood well enough to explain in plain language. The broke mindset avoids financial education because the subject feels intimidating and the relevance feels distant. The wealth mindset treats financial literacy as an ongoing maintenance practice, not dramatic, not demanding, 10 minutes weekly, that compounds into genuine competence across a year. 52 concepts understood over 12 months is a genuinely different relationship with money than the one that existed in January. Habit 4. Automate the smallest possible investment amount immediately. Not the ideal amount, the smallest amount that can be automated today without affecting essential spending. The psychological effect of having money automatically move toward growth before it is available for spending is structurally different from the intention to save what remains after spending. The intention fails because spending expands to fill available money. The automation succeeds because it removes the availability before the expansion can occur. Start with whatever is automatable. The habit of the automation matters more than the amount. The amount grows as the income grows. The habit installed at a small amount runs at every subsequent income level. Stay with habits 5 through 8. The first 4 shift the relationship with money at the belief and behavior level. What comes next shifts the identity. And habit 7 is the single most powerful mindset reframe on this list, the one that changes how every financial decision is evaluated from the moment it is understood. Habit 5. Track what money produced this month, not just what it cost. The broke mindset tracks spending. What went out, what was consumed, what is gone. The wealth mindset tracks production. What the money did, what it built, what return it generated. Even at the beginning, when the investments are small and the returns are minimal, the habit of asking, "What did my money produce this month?" reorients the entire relationship with money from consumption to production. That reorientation, held across months, changes what spending decisions feel like before they are made because every purchase is now evaluated against the alternative of what it could have produced. Habit 6. Surround the financial decision with a 24-hour pause before any significant unplanned spending, anything that was not in the budget, anything triggered by impulse or social comparison. Wait 24 hours. Not to deprive, to separate the emotional trigger from the financial decision. The broke mindset spends in response to emotion, reward, anxiety, comparison, celebration, compensation. The wealth mindset spends from intention. The 24-hour pause does not eliminate the purchase. It ensures the purchase is made by the intentional self rather than the emotional self. Most unplanned purchases do not survive 24 hours of consideration. The ones that do were probably worth making. Habit 7. Begin thinking of yourself as a steward of money rather than a user of it. Not a spiritual frame, a functional one. A user of money asks, what do I want to spend this on? A steward asks, what is this money's highest and best use? The stewardship frame is the frame T'Challa operated from with Wakanda's resources. Every allocation was evaluated against the question of what served the resource's fullest potential, not what satisfied the immediate want. When that frame is applied to personal finances, spending decisions change structurally, not because frugality is imposed, but because the question being asked before the decision is different. A different question produces a different answer. A different question produces a different answer. A different answer compounded across years produces a different position. Habit 8. Celebrate financial progress, not just financial achievement. The broke mindset waits for arrival, the account balance that finally feels secure, the debt finally cleared, the investment that finally reaches a significant milestone to acknowledge that something is being built. The wealth mindset marks the direction, not only the destination. The first automated investment, the first month the balance grew, the first time the bank balance was checked without anxiety. These are real events in the construction of a wealth relationship with money. Marking them privately in writing, without performance, reinforces the identity of someone who builds rather than the identity of someone who waits to arrive. You came into this expecting habits that fix the broke bank balance. More money in, less money out, better allocation of the gap. The bank balance is downstream of the mindset. Every habit on this list operates at the level above the balance, at the level of the beliefs, frames, and daily practices that govern what happens to money before and after it touches the account. Fix the identity relationship with money and the balance follows. Try to fix the balance while the identity relationship remains unchanged and the balance reverts. Because every windfall, every raise, every improvement in the balance meets the same set of beliefs and habits that produced the broke outcome in the first place. T'Challa did not strengthen Wakanda by adding resources. He strengthened it by upgrading the relationship with resources that already existed. The resources were sufficient. The relationship was the variable. Your income, at almost any level, is sufficient to begin building wealth. The relationship with it is the variable. These 8 habits are the upgrade. Tonight, 2 habits, the 2 that address the most structurally significant gaps in your current relationship with money, not the easiest 2, the most significant ones. If you have never looked at your bank balance without it producing an emotional reaction, look at it tonight. Just look. No judgment. The number is data. If you have never automated even the smallest investment, open the account tonight, not fund it. Open it. The open-in removes the first barrier. Everything after it is easier than that. The broke mindset was not installed in a single day. It was built through years of repeated patterns of spending before saving, of avoiding the number, of believing the story that wealth was for someone with a different starting point. 8 tiny habits, held consistently across 2026. Do not reverse those years in a month. They begin one day at a time, replacing the pattern with a different one. The new pattern, compounded across the year, produces a different identity. The different identity produces a different relationship with money. The different relationship produces real wealth, not as a destination arrived at, but as the natural output of who you have become. The broke mindset is not a bank balance. It is a set of beliefs about money that produce broke outcomes at any income level. Fix the beliefs, the balance follows. Note, this video covers general financial mindset and habits only. It is not financial advice. Your specific financial situation requires your own research and, where appropriate, guidance from a qualified financial professional. One question: which of the 8 habits, name the number, most directly describes a pattern in your current relationship with money that you already knew needed to change before you finished reading it? Drop it in the comments. That habit is tonight's first installation, not a plan. The habit itself If this named the mindset more precisely than the balance ever has, subscribe. More of this. The identity upgrade starts tonight.